I'm going to use this head that I started a while ago and try and use it as a base for some more detail work. In this case, making more, I guess, zombie undead-ish kind of skin. And maybe first we should probably talk about just starting with the right kind of references. You know, I think if we're talking about trying to get certain skin treatments, it's, you know, depending on where we go, either like a very fleshy, rotten look or a more advanced decay with, you know, less tissue. I think I'm going to push it towards something like more like this, where it's a little bit more skull-like, and I think that is always a little easier for me to wrap my head around. You know, how do we start adding some of these weird lesions and noises and alpha kind of things? So let's start with, I think I'll just like start exaggerating. Kind of big brush right now. Maybe even giving the eyes like a little bit more slack. I think that's going to be pretty key with making these kind of surface treatments, is trying to finding ways to sell that idea of loose skin. I'm pretty sure nothing here should be a surprise, just using the same old sculpting tools that, you know, we've been using throughout class. Really try and change some of the forms that I'm used to. That's looking kind of weird. So I think maybe I'm not taking that quite so far, but maybe if I push the recesses here a little bit more, then I think I'll get something a little bit more more natural. I think this approach here, like what I just did, where I'm kind of alternating these tube forms, making sure that as I do it though, not to have everything kind of line up so evenly, something like that. I think that can help try to create some of these like stretched and compressed forms, and that will just get me started, and then maybe later I can add some alphas to break that up, or even, you know, we could even split it up, like right there, like a crack, or maybe I'll turn off symmetry as I do parts of this, and then I'll kind of do something like that, and the more I can break up the surface, you know, using gem standard, adding these imperfections as I go along, I think this will all help. Turning on symmetry on and off as I move around the model as well. maybe varying up some of these widths along the nose will help. And maybe I'll take that same, like, alternating of tube forms, taking it to other parts of just a few other areas that I think are a little bit more common to see that. Basically, wrinkles, I guess. So I don't want this to be too much of me messing around with these kind of general forms. Maybe I'll just kind of move a few things around though, so that this 3/4 view looks a little bit slightly more natural, and maybe we can even bring in a little bit more here, and I'm going to push this stuff forward here. And let's see, in the Drive folder, I made a new thing here where it's under class resources, right? There's going to be in the ZBrush settings and brushes alphas. It's going to be these lesions and undead. I'll just show you a bunch of these alphas here. So it's go ahead and bring up Lightbox, go to alpha, and I'm already in that folder. And I think a lot of these things will give us some interesting results. It'll give me something to play with as I move along. Maybe we can start pretty extreme, like say this thing here. Oops, let's turn it off. I'm going to switch to like standard brush and just load that. You know, I can take the intensity down a little bit as I go along. Ooh, this is kind of a funny forehead thing, but that's okay. We'll address that later. Let's start with morph target first, so I can go back to this. And then now, so basically, what am I trying to do is, you know, find like a roadmap to create these pockets, like here and like here. And of course, we could just sculpt that in manually, but I think maybe there would be some happy accidents from doing something like this. So let's go positive. Nothing's quite... Okay, I think I can use this one here. So I'll take the morph brush and I'll kind of remove the areas that I don't want right now. I can kind of leave it as a loose indication around the lips, because that's like kind of a cracked area right now. You know, maybe we'll turn off symmetry and then have it just focus a little bit more here for now, and then maybe I can go in there at this point. And I'll use that to kind of help guide my decisions of where to introduce this kind of detail. And this is still bothering me. So let's keep that simple for now. And And then maybe let's take standard brush again, and let's find something else. Maybe something like super crazy like this thing. Yeah, I think I'll leave some of this along the mouth here. Let's turn on symmetry here, and I think that'll give some interesting wrinkles that I can use. I think it'll also help sell like a cracked skin look here. And then we can again take the morph brush and kind of massage it back into the sculpt here. You know, I can even smooth out certain areas if I need to. We can kind of pick at it. Add like a weird cleft in the chin here, and then let's try this again. Where else could I put this? Maybe that cracked skin effect will be nice along the forehead, but I think that's too twisted or too many curls to it. So why don't I bring up? Oops. Hopefully some of these will be a little straighter. Try that here. Not liking this too much. Yeah, maybe I go negative instead. I'll go negative and let's turn intensity down. Yeah, so sometimes I just don't know what kind of effect I'm gonna get, so that's why constantly just taking it, putting it down, testing it out, changing the opacity or the intensity, just so we have something to work with here. And then maybe we'll take these. Yeah, I think this will work. I think the cool thing about this one is it's giving me some ideas to let's go back to Decayed tubes or something, get some harder edges. I think this will give an interesting depth, or like there's like an underlayer or something to each thing. You know, maybe it's like skin that's being slowly exposed. And then now that we're really breaking symmetry here, I can just continue to exaggerate some of the forms that I see from the alphas. What about this? I think maybe it could be like a personal preference thing, but I'm not too fond of having so much of this like high frequency noise, so I think I'm going to go in and really start to unify these, bring it back in pull it back in just a little bit here. Just going to go ahead and just carve into everything here. Maybe you can really start distorting the nose too. I think generally the more you can suggest decay with the bony landmarks too, the more success you'll have when working on this work. And I think maybe we can take this and do this like under the eyelids. So I'm gonna kind of twist it, rotate it to kind of fit that area. And if the noise is too much, I'll just get rid of it in a second. I'm just gonna smooth it back down. See what kind of texture that'll give us. I think breaking the symmetry more would also help. I guess with all the moving stuff around, that I think I'm starting to lose that structure, so I'm going to distort things. So I'm going to pull things around again, you know, make sure that as I'm rotating around the model, things look okay. I think the nose is getting a little hard to work with, so maybe we'll just go ahead and delete everything, delete all my layers, my subdivision levels, and I'll dynamesh it pretty high. See what this gives me. Okay, actually, you know what? What I'm going to do instead is let's duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate this head, and then we'll go solo mode just so I see what's happening. I'll dynamesh this. Oh, let's undo that. Let's delete lower. I'll dynamesh this, and I'll just subdivide this a few times, and then I'll just project my detail. I'm not going to go through the process of z-remeshing on here because I think that's going to cause, because I'm still trying to figure out a lot of the forms, and I don't want to constantly do the whole z-remesh process. So I'll just subdivide the dynamesh model. And when it comes down to z-remeshing later, that's always something that's very easy to do at the end. And now I think I have kind of like the proper resolution, model resolution to work on this area here. Break up the symmetry some more. I think maybe what can help too is if I fill this in. I think it'll help give that milky, like dead eye look, kind of like what's happening on this one, and even in here, yeah. I think just that clarity in the eyeball was giving it too much life. I think we're getting a little too lumpy, so I'm going to trim dynamic some of these extra forms down so they don't look too sloppy. Yeah, just manually putting down some like wrinkles and folds because I'm not honestly that used to working with alphas and high frequency detail, so in some ways trying to, I think, just draw it out manually is a little easier for my head to understand. And then I can go back later and try out some more alpha work. Maybe this I went a little overboard on some of these skeletal structures. Again, I think I went too lumpy. Carving back in some more detail, like the tear duct area. Trying some more of these alphas here. Do not like that one. What about these? I think I'll just kind of texture everything like this. Kind of like a little bit of noise. Putting it down, smoothing it out, or not necessarily just smoothing it out, but lessening the effect, just so we get a little bit more surface variety. We can always firm things up later. Like right now, I can just go back and carve it in, take my intensity back up, take the brush down. Use this to kind of carve back in some more semblance of a structure again. And I think that what that's telling me is I need to move the head around. And taking this, taking a damp standard, taking the intensity down, and then trying to create more of a plane change. Oops. in some ways, I think I kind of hit the limit of at least what I'm comfortable with as far as making using alphas, and I really think I'm going to get more benefit from using what I've started with, and then yeah, I don't like that one either, and I'll just carve out the rest manually. Maybe I can use this and we can poke some more holes, or I can do like, I think this could be interesting. Maybe that's too extreme. What about this one? Yeah, I think I can use some cracks. Some cracks and like gashes. So I'll use that kind of with what I've been given in the other alphas and other passes that I've done here. Smooth out things that I think might be a little too noisy. Okay, so following this kind of language, maybe I'll just pull this down. I don't think that actually makes much logical sense, but I think it's maybe more interesting to look at. Maybe I can even lower the lid here. I'm going to go in and play with some of those forms I've made earlier, but I'm going to exaggerate the hard and soft edges as I do this. I think some of this stuff up here is still a little too sharply defined, so I'm going to knock that back a little bit. In fact, I guess I got rid of the majority of what I put down with that alpha, but I think that's okay. I think having put it down and moving in, massaging it into the rest of the sculpt is always gonna like leave a more. It's gonna add more, even though I got rid of quite a bit. I mean, this kind of weird zigzag is kind of unnatural, so maybe I'll just take this and I'll try and get rid of that. But instead, it just helped me just help my decisions, inform my decisions on what to do around here. maybe we'll take this, and the ear has been left alone. And then what can I do here? Maybe we'll go extreme. Take some intensity back up. Going to eat away at the sculpt here, make it look a little less new. Cut into things damn standard. Reintegrate some of those noisy areas. Oh, that's standing out too much. There's like an unusual line here, so let's kind of fill that in. And I think in the entire process, as I look finally to the side, I should do that more often, we're really losing the volume, like the back of the eye, so I'm going to put that back in. Maybe I'll simplify this side. Leave the unusual holes here. Hitting every button wrong here. I actually like how that turned out, so maybe we'll try and do that. Something similar up here. I think I will need a morph target for this. So let's delete the one we made before, store it. And then I'll get rid of some of the excess. To give it more variety, I'll do it on the other side, but I'm going to invert it and see what kind of results I get here. And then we'll do it again and try and get something on the back of the eye. Maybe it's time to bring in some more variety. And I think I want to try something interesting. I don't know if I actually if it's interesting or not, but let's do this. What does that give us? If I like that, oops, definitely don't like that. I mean, it's kind of interesting, but not what I'm looking for. Inflate things? No. No, I think we'll just, I'm just gonna call it soon on this exercise. Definitely one of the weirdest heads I've made. So many odd things about this structure that's really bugging me, but I think I'll just call it done for now. And yeah, that's more or less how I would approach doing this kind of like detail work. Just trying out a bunch of alphas, downloading some, making some. Just make sure as you're making it though, that I guess for some reason, don't save it as a JPEG, save it as like a PSD. I think that would work out better. Or not that it would work out better, it would actually work. Because when you import like a JPEG into ZBrush, it'll put it in the texture slot instead of the alpha slot. And before I call it, let's get some more definition in the lips area. And there you have it. Hope that was educational.